Good evening, everyone, and my name is Muan from Myanmar, and my project is called Peace and Power Voices Through Educations. When people hear the word peace, and many imagine the absence of war or conflict, but for me, and peace is something more personal and everyday. And peace is when people feel safe to think and safe to speak and safe to be different without fear. Today, I will want to share how my experiences help me understand that education itself can become a form of peace building. I come from Tarim, Chin State, a conflict-affected and undeveloped region in our country, and growing up there taught me both struggle and resilience. And many young people in my community have talent and dreams, but they often lack opportunities, support, and confidence because of the conflict and limited educational resources. So this experience shaped the way I see educations, and not only as academic learning, but also as a space where young people can discover hope, dignity, and confidence. I believe peace is deeply connected to how we treat one another in classrooms or communities and conversations. And a peaceful world is not where people like everyone thinks the same, but where people can disagree respectfully and while still recognizing each other's humanity. In 2020, some of my friends fail the exams and lose confidence in themselves, and I began listening to them and tutoring them academically. And through this experience, I realized many young people are not only struggle with studies, but also with fear and self-worth. Um, when they later passed their exams, I understood that education can restore hope, and that moment changed the way I see teaching. As I continue teaching, I notice a pattern, and many students stay silent in classrooms, not because they have nothing to say, and but because they are afraid of being wrong, judged, or ignored. Sometimes education teaches students to follow instructions, but not to think independently, and they memorize answers, but become afraid to ask questions. And this deeply uh, troubles me because when young people stop believing their voices matter, and society also loses future leaders and thinkers and peace builders. That's why my project focuses on empower voices through educations. And my project is about creating educational spaces where students feel safe to express themselves, and I want them to understand that their thoughts matter, and I want the classroom to become spaces where listening is valued as much as speaking, and through educations, they can learn how to communicate respectfully, and how to understand differences, and how to think critically, and how to solve problems without hate or violence. I believe peace can quietly begin inside classrooms. During this Peace Journey program, I intentionally practice this project in small but meaningful ways inside classroom and conversations. I encourage quieter students to participate more, and I try listening more patiently instead of immediate correcting mistakes. One thing I learned is that peace often grows through very small actions. A teacher listening carefully, or students speaking for the first time, or a classroom where mistakes are seen or treated as part of learning instead of failure. Even though these actions were small, I noticed meaningful changes, and some quieter students slowly began participating more, or discussions became more respectful, or students started encouraging one another instead of laughing at mistakes. And I realized confidence grows slowly, but once they feel heard, they begin believing in themselves differently. And for me, one student's discovering their voice is already a form of peace building. Starting from the new academic year in June, I want to continue this project throughout the school year in my classroom. As an instructor, I can practice it every day through respectful dialogue or reflections and student-centered learning. And I also hope to share this practice with other educators because peaceful classroom should not belong to only one student or one teacher, right? I may begin with one classroom, but peace can grow through many voices. This project is deeply personal because it comes from my own experience and my hometown and my journey as a teacher and a mentor. And growing up in a very conflict affected community taught me how education can restore hope and confidence. And this peace journey helped me realize that peace often begins quietly and through listening, understanding, and respectful dialogue and helping people feel heard. And that is why this project is not just an idea for me, and it is something I try to practice every day in my classroom. I believe even one safe classroom can become the beginning of peace. Thank you so much for listening to my story and my vision. I truly believe education can become a quiet bridge between people and communities, and I hope to continue building small spaces where young people feel heard, respected, and empowered. May peace prevail on earth.